Hello everyone, welcome back, and we're looking at creating a menu screen. So previously we've created buttons, now we're going to make it into a nice menu screen. So let's have a look at what we've got so far. So we've got this and we've got the buttons which just say play or quit, but it's in the middle of the game, which isn't ideal. Okay. What we'll need to be doing is creating another class for the main menu. And this class doesn't need to import anything because it's not a sprite. It's going to be very similar to the game. So it's going to act more like the game than it is going to act like a sprite. Now, if we have all of this stuff in there as well, bearing in mind we're going to be calling this first, we need to initialize it before either of those. So what I want to do is move all of this out of this section and move it right down to the bottom. So I can move that down to there, and this will always be done right at the beginning this way. Now we've got a display which we're creating. It doesn't need to be self-dot because it's not in a object anymore. But this display will need to be passed into the game, it will need to be passed into the main menu and everything. So we can just say display, and that passes it in to the game. And now that just says it's going to take it. Now that should work exactly the same because we've assigned it to self.display, and wherever we're using it in here, then we've already got it as self.display. So that should still be happy, we've not changed anything. It does, however, mean that when we create the main menu, we can do very similar, but we don't need to rerun all this code. Now when I start this game, I don't really want it to be going into the game, I want it to be going into the main menu. So now when it runs, it will be going straight into the main menu. Now what are we expecting it to do in the main menu? Well, a lot of the stuff which we've already done. So creating the buttons. So that creates the buttons. So we don't need to do that inside the game because that was just testing it. We don't want to do anything with asteroids or anything like that. We do, however, want a play and quit function, whereas we don't particularly want it in the game class. So there's our play and quit. So now when the buttons call self.play, self.quit, that's what it's going to be referencing inside the main menu class. Now we'll need to have a run method with our game loop, and that will need to be fairly similar to this. So if we just take that, the best code to copy is your own code. Got fill, we'll need to do update, we'll need to do draw. I haven't got the extra text surfaces, but if you wanted to, you could have a title in there, and we want the update. There we go. Now let's have a look, see what we've got so far. There we go. So we've got a nice menu, and the asteroids is hidden away somewhere, and we can just press on the buttons and it does stuff. you'll notice that we've got this loop for self.playing. So what we can do for quit, instead of just printing quit, we can say self.playing equals false. And that means that when it goes through a complete loop, it will say, well, hang on, self.playing is no longer true, therefore I need to drop out of this loop and finish, and anything which you've got underneath which is tidying up the code, maybe saving things, it will all run and it will quit nicely, rather than just Control-C and exiting on whatever bit of code. So now when we press quit, it exits nicely. Okay, now we've got the play. So it's very similar to what we had right down the bottom here, which we've changed to main menu. So play needs to have new game, or whatever you want to call it, equals game. We're passing in the display, remember? And then we're running that game. Let's have a look at that, see how that goes. Voila! And now, because this is inside the main menu, when we die or when we quit and we exit the loop inside the run of game, we exit this loop because we're exiting things nicely rather than just sys.exit or whatever. It means that it will finish this code off and then it will go back to here and continue with this run loop. So if we die, then we've gone back to the main menu. So that's the basics of the menu, and that seems to be pretty much working. So all we've done is we've split out the code, so we've got one class for main menu and one class for game. They each have their own run loop, and they've each got their methods of quitting, and they both have all sprites and all the rest. If you wanted to have something like a menu which pops up over the screen with the game still running in the background, then you could have the run loop in here calling another function. So you could have, if something's been pressed, create a menu screen, and then inside here, if that menu is active, run that code and then put all those sprites on the screen. If you don't have a loop inside it, then it will still go back to this, run all of this stuff, and then do the extra code which you want. If you do it this way with a loop inside, then it will stop whatever code is in the area which you're calling it from, in this case the menu, and it will only display the rest of it when that function stops. So essentially it's getting stuck in here until the game finishes, then it's resuming in here as if nothing happened. Hopefully that shows you how to do a nice menu and you create something snazzy. Best of luck.